Hello, and welcome to this video from Ordinate. My name is Mark Gerard, and in this video, in the series of videos, we'll be talking to leading Dante device manufacturers and Dante Network users to learn more about how they are creating amazing experiences for audiences around the world using networked audio and video. Joining me today is a fellow product manager, Brandon Heinz from Renkus-Heinz. Welcome, Brandon. It's great to catch up with you again.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Mark. Really good to catch up with you as well. It's an honor to be a part of this little video series here, and really cool that we get to be one of your first guests in this new little video series. So thank you so much for having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Well, many of you will already be familiar with Renkus-Heinz, but you might not know they were an early adopter of Dante and have used Dante technology throughout their product lines for around about the last 10 years, I think. Renkus-Heinz is an innovator in steerable line array speaker systems used across sporting venues, theaters, house of worship, retail, and hospitality. Brendan, tell me, did I miss anything there?
No, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. You know, Renkus-Heinz has been a leader in self-powered networked audio solutions, and for the last 20 years or so, we have been really specializing in our digital beam-steered loudspeakers. And for those not familiar, we were actually the first manufacturer to come up with a self-powered networked audio solution 20 years ago. And throughout that time, we have been continuing to innovate. And when Audinate came onto the market with their Dante audio platform, we knew that the writing was on the wall and we had to make that change over to the new technology as soon as possible. And ever since we made that switch over to Dante, we have been very pleased with the scalability, reliability, and robustness of the Dante system. You know, it really helps simplify setup and reduces cost for our integrators out in the field. And the scalability and the robustness of this network really enables it to be a game-changing tool for these very large-scale, high-end point count installations in these larger projects that we often find ourselves in.
That's awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about some of those large projects that you're designing into today?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So we find ourselves in a lot of very large-scale projects in commercial installation, everything from large cathedrals, big, large-scale, very complex house of worship projects. We often do lots of work in transportation venues like train stations and airports. Some notable ones include the LAX, Los Angeles International Airport, where we have speakers across many terminals in that airport. We have very large-scale installations like the Istanbul Airport, where there are 396 Renkus-Heinz Iconics loudspeakers, all with Dante cards inside of them. And then we've got a number of projects across big performing arts centers and theaters, large-scale commercial venues, some retail spaces, and of course, you know, really anywhere in between, you'll find Renkus-Heinz loudspeaker systems in these large-scale projects.
Nice. Well, having just spent a fair few travels through airports and train stations, I can really attest to how clear and intelligible communication and audio is in those environments today. And it's it's such a distance and such a vast improvements from the muffled announcements of the past.
It makes a really big difference when you can hear where you need to go and make sure that you get there on time. And so efficient travel is the name of the game there.
It really does. It really does. We all remember the really muffled announcements at train stations and just never know what train is that? Where are we going?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I hear you're doing lots of immersive experience as well. You've a lot of those environments. How has the immersive audio landscape changed, and has it influenced what Renkus-Heinz is doing?
Yeah, so there've been a number of changes to the immersive audio landscape over the last 5 to 10 years, and it is becoming more and more of a popular style of doing installations, especially in large-scale immersive audio theater installations. And there's been some advancements in technology that make the immersive audio aspect much easier, where immersive audio is the ability to localize a sound object within a 3D space. There's been a number of tools to make sure that object-based mixing has been more accessible. But in addition to the immersive audio, there's another technology that has been around for a while but has been picking up in popularity lately, which is the active acoustics enhancements. And active acoustics really is the ability to take a room and change the acoustics on the fly, utilizing many loudspeakers and also many microphones in order to change the acoustics of the space. And Renkus-Heinz loudspeaker solutions have been chosen many times in these installations because of the benefits that we bring. The self-powered Dante-enabled loudspeakers means it's incredibly easy to put many endpoints around a space, and the ease of routing within the Dante audio makes it so that getting the right signal to the right location is also very simple. And then with our beam-steered loudspeaker systems for traditional immersive audio projects, being able to cover the entire audience area correctly from every location means that everybody in the venue has a better experience and better localization when you're dealing with these multi-channel immersive audio projects. And so these trends have really been shaping the industry the last few years, and it's really been kind of driving a little bit of what our future roadmap will look like in terms of what kind of products are on offer in the future.
Awesome. I think kind of what you said, all those systems are just about making it easy to use for the operators, but also just creating more intelligible experiences for the audience. That's amazing. So I understand you've recently made some new updates to your product line. Can you tell me a little bit more about those?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to. So we've been developing steerable loudspeakers now for 20 years. And so over the last few years, we're working very hard behind the scenes to set ourselves up for the future loudspeaker products and really setting ourselves up to begins playing in the next dimensions of loudspeaker product development. And a lot of these improvements have centered around our software and making beam steering more accessible. With the recent launch of our OmniBeam beam steering algorithm, it has never been easier to get dramatically better results from your sound system. And so OmniBeam is the combination of our latest and greatest under the hood coverage generation algorithms with a easy, intuitive user interface and workflow that means anybody, regardless of their level of experience with steered loudspeaker systems, can get incredible results all within a matter of seconds. Generating that consistent coverage is really just a matter of a snap. And because of that, it is making beam steered loudspeaker systems the more obvious choice in more venues than ever before. It's no longer pigeonholed as being time consuming or challenging or difficult to use. And with this new OmniBeam feature, beam steered loudspeakers are really easier to use than traditional loudspeaker systems like point source or line arrays, all while delivering incredible coverage consistency, a visually discrete loudspeaker system, all while enabling people to make changes on the fly without having to take down their loudspeakers, repin things to get correct angles, all making their installations easier than ever before. And in addition to our beam steering algorithms, there's been a few improvements on the software side as well. We have third-party plugins coming that enable users to control and monitor status of their loudspeaker systems across whatever third-party plugins that they use. Ultimately meaning that managing these large-scale systems are easier. They have to look in one place rather than a few different places to check the status of their loudspeakers. And then we've also made some improvements in our firmware that means that we've enabled true automated failover and redundancy, meaning that audio is delivered no matter what, regardless of what is happening with the system upstream of the loudspeakers. We now have pilot tone filtering and automated failover as standard across all of our Dante-enabled products, which means that if you are sending a pilot tone across the Dante network, the loudspeakers themselves filter that pilot tone, but also sense that pilot tone to make sure that the Dante audio is the preferred audio stream. And then if that pilot tone is lost, it switches over inaudibly to make sure that audio continues to be delivered no matter what the situation is with the network upstream of the loudspeaker. And through those three improvements, we have truly set ourselves up for the next 10 to 15 years of product development. I'm really excited to see what the future holds.
That's some really cool changes. And you touch on things there like reliability, and we hear all the time how manufacturers and users are choosing Dante because of its reliability. They don't want any interruptions to the show. They want to make sure that large-scale infrastructure just keeps working, and usability, just that ability to have different people, from many different backgrounds, come in and use your systems and design systems. I think there's a lot of alignment with what we do with Dante every day. I'm glad you mentioned those features you're delivering through firmware updates too. At Ordinate, we've been investing a lot to try and develop new tools to help making setup and managing networks and device on those networks easier. So we try and make this easier both for people who are network engineers, but also people who are sound engineers who are learning networking, or people who come from various different backgrounds just to use the tools. And recently we've updated Dante Controller, as you may have seen, and one of the big things we changed there was we introduced a dark mode into that too. And for our users, we know this isn't just a color scheme, but a lot of them are using those in environments where it is dark, and it's just so much nicer on the eyes. It's easier on the eyes as a user, but also it doesn't distract audiences around you as you're using Dante Controller or having to make changes during a performance. And you may know that Dante Controller is also home to a utility we call Dante Updater, which is our firmware management utility. And this helps keep Dante devices on your network up to date. It's a tool which we've developed to work across manufacturers like yourselves to help deliver the latest network features, improvements, and security updates. And Brendan, should your customers be looking at Dante Updater to get the latest firmware for your speakers?
Absolutely. I'd first like to just say, as a user of Dante Controller fairly regularly, the latest update with the new visual design and those two visual skins are a pretty major improvement. And in terms of firmware updates, yes, absolutely. Not only have we been making improvements to the Rayon microcontroller side of our products, but we've also been making improvements to the Dante side, because as networks evolve, we need to make sure that we have the latest tools from Audinate inside our loudspeakers to ensure that loudspeakers continue to work regardless of what's happening with upstream network protocols. And one thing I'd like to point out here in regards to Dante firmware updating is the fact that, we actually uncovered a minor issue with the Brooklyn 3 card shortly after launch, and it did affect a number of our users. But one thing that I want to make clear here is how good of a partner Audinate has been to Renkus-Heinz during this process. When we presented it to them, they worked tirelessly with us to figure out where the issue is coming from, what the root cause was, and how to get it fixed efficiently so that our customers would be able to work around this as quickly as possible. And it makes a big difference, to have partners behind us that work with us like this to make sure that things go off without a hitch, because everybody has issues from time to time, but really it's about how those issues are handled that sets people apart. And Audinate has been a very powerful tool, or a very powerful partner for us in that regard, and we couldn't be happier. So without a doubt, our customers should be looking to Audinate and Dante Controller to make sure that the latest Dante firmware is available for your Renkus-Heinz loudspeakers. Feel free to use that new Dante Controller update, get into Dante Updater, and update your Renkus-Heinz loudspeakers that way.
That's the place to go. Well, look, we really appreciate those partnerships. And for us, we just, over the time we've been doing Dante, we've seen the way that people use networks and design systems, that has just evolved so much. And the partnerships we have with our manufacturers, with our system integrators and designers, and with the massive Dante user community out there as well is so important. We're learning new things they're doing. We're finding new edge cases. We're finding that systems are always getting bigger, more complex, and just really creative experiences are being put together because there's just new and new things being thought of every day.
Absolutely.
So Brendan, where can people find more information around your products and what you're doing?
Yeah, you can find any information about our loudspeaker products or what kind of tools we have available to help you solve problems out in the field. If you'd like any information about Renkus-Heinz, please visit our website at www.renkus-heinz.com. There's lots of really cool support links there to see how we can help you, lots of educational tools, and feel free to contact us if you need any help figuring out how we can work together to bring your customer success on your next loudspeaker design projects.
Wonderful, thank you. And also, if you're looking to get any more information around Dante, visit getdante.com, where you'll find information on our certification courses to learn about the basics of Dante, or information around any of the products we offer, whether you're designing a system, looking to buy new products, or whether you're a manufacturer looking to integrate Dante into your next generation of solution as well. So check that out. That's at getdante.com. Thank you very much for listening today. Thank you, Brendan, and bye-bye.
Yep, thanks again, Mark. Appreciate it.